Rain and snow moving in as our next advertised storm system arrives. Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here again at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your Southeast Idaho weather hazard briefing for Tuesday, November 9th. Widespread precipitation and low elevation rain, higher elevation snow is in the process of working into the forecast area early this morning. A little bit of text here to read. I wanted to break out kind of three areas where we have some impact-related concerns with this system that's moving in. Start here with the Central Mountain area, well west of Chalice and Mackey. 2 to 4 inches of snow expected above about 6,500 feet. This will include Banner and Galena summits. Higher amounts, over 6 inches expected in the higher elevations of the Sawtooths and Pioneers. A few of the other peaks up that way as well. One thing we're really watching this morning, that we may see a slushy coating to as much as 2 inches of snow come down into the valleys, into areas like Stanley, Sun Valley, Ketchum, Haley, Tomcat Summit, particularly in the 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. window this morning. That's really the window that we're looking at, where temperatures are still going to be cold enough down low at the lower elevations, and we may see some decent snowfall rates with the first leading wave of snow coming in with this system up to a half an inch an hour. So up in that area, be mindful of this if you are planning to travel or commute this morning. Now, as you head east of I-15, a little bit lower numbers here and also a little lower confidence in impacts, but still expecting 1 to 3 inches above about 6,500 feet. This will include the passes, Monida, Reynolds, Targhee, and Pine Creek. Locally higher amounts in the Bear River Range. That'll include Immigration Summit, maybe 3 to 5 inches there. Also the Tetons and many of the mountain ranges surrounding Fremont County. May see a coating to an inch during a couple different periods here, creeping down into the Island Park area and also Driggs. Again, lower confidence here compared to the Central Mountains. 2 windows we're watching. First, 9 a.m. to noon. That's on the leading edge of the storm, where temperatures are still cold enough for snow before things change to rain. Potentially also 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. this evening, when the temperatures start to come down again and cool, with rain changing back to snow, although there's some uncertainty here as to how long organized precipitation may last this evening. So if you're traveling in this area, be mindful of these general windows and some of these locations where we may see a little bit of accumulation. Again, this is all very complex with the temperature profile that we're seeing. We may actually see some accumulating snow. It may be wet and slushy, particularly at lower elevations. It may melt as daytime temperatures get into the 40s for many areas outside the higher terrain. Third area that I'll mention here very briefly, Snake Plain east of Burley. This includes Pocatello and Idaho Falls. Very, very low confidence in this scenario. We're seeing some signals that there may be just a little light freezing rain mixing in to the leading precipitation activity on the front side of this storm this morning. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is our window to keep an eye out for this. We saw temperatures plummet overnight, even colder than what our forecast was calling for, because skies cleared for several hours. So we're starting with a colder surface air mass with warmer, moist air coming in from the west, with the system overrunning that cold air right at the surface. It's a potential setup, but there's a lot of moving parts here in terms of how quickly will precipitation move in. Is the surface air a little too dry? How quickly will temperatures warm with daytime heating? So very low confidence here, but just something to keep in the back of your mind if you are in the Snake Plain region this morning. This is our forecast focus. So looking beyond this storm, quieter pattern moves in starting Wednesday right into the upcoming weekend, although it's an unsettled quiet pattern. Still expecting some light rain and snow showers across the region, particularly favoring our mountain regions. Here's a geographic and day-by-day breakdown of that on our weather risk outlook. Again, impacts are really focused on today. Today is our storm and our main focus of the forecast. Breezy conditions today into tomorrow, as the backside of that storm system is still in the general area. And then you can see we're blanketed with some chances for light rain and snow showers here for much of the region Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Not expecting significant accumulations and not expecting organized storm systems to really come plowing through the region over the course of those days. No watches, warnings, or advisories in effect for our local area this morning. Yellowstone area down into the Tetons has a winter weather advisory for some higher snowfall totals and also some dense fog issues, at least through the first few hours of the morning here. here down into portions of the Cache Valley and the Bear Lake area, particularly south of the Utah border where a dense fog advisory is in effect. Here comes our storm here, very visible on satellite. A nice shield of clouds is overspreading southeast Idaho from the west. Precipitation is not far behind, already creeping in toward the Burley and Sun Valley areas. And again, this will be with us over the course of the day with widespread rain and snow. So let's jump into one of our models here. This is, again, we have lots of high-res models we look at, but this is the NAM Nest. Again, this is simulated radar reflectivity. This is what the model thinks the radar might look like as we go over the course of the day, with some best guesses for precipitation type also shaded here. So this isn't perfect. Every model has a little bit of a bias and isn't always quite on track here with exact timing and location, but should give us a general idea. By 5 to 6 a.m. this morning, as I toggle back and forth between these, you can see rain and snow starting to overspread the area from the west, getting into the central mountain region, the eastern Magic Valley. There's a little bit of that freezing rain potential, very low confidence appearing here in this particular model solution. Again, east of Burley, maybe close to Pocatello, Blackfoot, Idaho Falls. It really depends on how things go here. We're going to be monitoring very closely this morning to see if we actually see any light freezing rain reported at any of the stations. Really rain here for Twin Falls, Shoshone, and Burley. 7, 8, 9 a.m. Precipitation overspreading the region. Temperatures warm enough, we lose the freezing rain potential. Snow continuing in the mountains, rain up the Snake Plain corridor. We have precipitation by 9 a.m. getting up toward Rexburg, Island Park, and West Yellowstone, as well as Pocatello. 10, 11 a.m. Widespread precipitation continues now, overspreading all of the southern and eastern highlands. And as we head into the afternoon, hour by hour here, you can see we generally start to lose that activity from west to east, but this corridor across the southern and eastern highlands remains quite active into the mid-afternoon hours. Really marginal temperature profile in Island Park. You may see snow or at least a rain-snow mix through much of the day along US 20 up here in Fremont County. Really marginal temperatures usually means roads are going to be mostly wet, maybe a little slushy. We'll have to see exactly how that plays out and exactly how those temperatures go. Certainly should see things warm up enough for rain for a good chunk of the day in the Teton Valley, including Driggs. By 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, still active in the south and east, generally south and east of the interstate corridors here. Drying trend for much of the region, though. And we're going to be watching, again, places like Island Park for Driggs to see if we do see a changeover back to snow, maybe some impacts on the roadways. But as you can see in this model, as we go to 7 o'clock, indicating there may be still a diminishing trend as far as that precipitation potential this evening. So if we do cut things off early enough, that'll kind of mitigate the potential for roadway impacts there in the Upper Snake Highlands and the Wyoming border area this evening. No huge changes to our storm total snowfall for this event today. You can certainly see places like the Sawtooths, the Pioneers, the Bear River Range, the Tetons really picking up on 6 inches or more, but that's up high. That's generally above pass level. Many of our passes, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow, maybe a little more in Immigration. Again, we're watching this window this morning from about 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. for some decent snowfall rates and some travel impacts potentially down into the Wood River Valley, also over toward Tomcat Summit, maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3 inch potential there. Island Park and Driggs, again, watching for a little bit of snow to mix in, but you can see not really expecting any impacts as far as snow, as long as we can keep any freezing rain out of the area here briefly this morning. Temperatures are just going to be too warm here from the eastern Magic Valley up the interstate corridor in the Snake Plain, at least until you get up to Spencer and Monida. This map can also give you a good idea of where we may see snow sticking, even if we see some flakes down lower here into this kind of grayish brown area of 0. Just not really expecting temperatures to support accumulations actually sticking to the ground for any period of time. Now, we'll show you this additional graphic again. What if Mother Nature overperforms? What is the worst case or highest case scenario that we could see with the storm today? Again, a lot of moving parts here with marginal temperatures and how quickly things are moving in, how heavy the snow gets, how quickly we warm up and change terrain in the valleys. But worst case scenario, our high-end snowfall could come in closer to 4 inches for Stanley, Ketchum, Sun Valley, Island Park, Driggs. Again, worst case scenario. This is not our official forecast. This is not not our most likely forecast, but this is kind of that upper guardrail for those of you who do need to plan maybe for roadway operations and such over the course of the day with this system moving through. Maybe immigration getting some impacts down there too with several inches of snow. Again, just nothing really for Burley, Pocatello, Blackfoot, or Idaho Falls as far as snowfall over the course of the day. Will be breezy, nothing terribly out of hand, but noticeable. Over here on the left, we have wind gusts over the course of the day. Those winds are just starting to increase here as we head toward daybreak this morning. We will see some gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour across the region. Not a lot of overlap, though, with the gusty winds and any areas of active snowfall where the snow is going to be dry enough to blow. Certainly can't rule out some pockets of blowing snow in a few spots, but just those marginal temperatures and the wet nature of a lot of the snow, really not expecting this to be a core impact for most of you. A little bit less on the wind Wednesday, and again, we'll be drier on Wednesday, just a few light snow showers running around out there, particularly in the mountains, but still some gusts over 20 miles an hour, maybe 25 miles per hour across the region. Here's your high temperatures today and Wednesday. There's why we're not seeing snow sticking down here in the lower elevations from the Snake Plain into the eastern Magic Valley, getting up into the mid-40s, a little bit colder in Island Park, 38, very marginal there as far as snow and rain precipitation profiles today, 43 in Driggs. Maybe a few degrees cooler over here on the right as we get into Wednesday on the backside of this system, only topping out around 38 in Stanley. Still some low 40s here down in our lower elevation population centers. Slight warming trend, again, with some kind of unsettled rain and snow shower activity Thursday, Friday, but nothing terribly heavy or impactful. Temperatures gradually creeping up into the mid-40s at lower elevations, and then over here on the right by Friday, potentially some 50s into a few of our lower elevation areas here. Eastern Magic Valley, lower Snake Plain, maybe up in Chalice and Salmon as well on those readings. So we'll throw this slide back up here, kind of highlighting the summary of some of our impacts that we're watching today. Again, a lot of moving parts, lots of uncertainty, but we've tried to nail down kind of the locations and time frames here of some potential travel impacts. So do keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on those road conditions. Remember to slow down if you're traveling today and you do encounter snowfall along your route. That's it for your hazard briefing. As always, we're here 24/7. Please reach out with any questions, comments, concerns using the information at the bottom of this slide. And have a great Tuesday.